Hey! Ha ha hey! Thank you, sharpshooter. And thank you, good people, for standing.
Madakyapi. Excuse my elders for speaking in front of you. This has been one of the hardest years of my family. Not being able to do this, not being able to sit at their grandpa. My father raised me and my brother around this drum with no shortcuts. That is why when my brother made his journey, I followed protocol and I put our grandpa away for a year. I kept our family away from these gatherings. Like I said at my brother's memorial, we did not want to bring this morning to your celebrations. We didn't want to come there and have people honoring us because we were mourning. We were taught better than that. But we were very honored when Derek and Gathering Our Nations wanted to do this for my brother. All we were ever taught was to share what we were given to us as kids from my father. Like I said at my brother's memorial, we played powwow in our basement. Me and my brother and my sister. We had giveaways. We took turns singing and dancing. But we weren't playing. We were portraying what we saw without skipping one protocol. Without skipping anything, we followed it. Like I said at my brother's memorial, I remember this like it was yesterday. I was 5, my brother was 8. In our basement, my father took us in front of a grandpa, sat us down and said, "Is this what you want to be? If this is what you really want to be, I need to know." And both of us said yes. From there on, that day on, we had to learn protocol about these grandpas. This is not something you sit and do on the weekends, gentlemen. This is not something you sit and do for money. You do this because of the spirit. This drum, these instruments, they can hit every emotion when you do it right. You just saw that. The music brought my family to tears. These grandpas, like I said, don't be jealous of each other. We all do the same thing. Be good to one another. Because next weekend your buddy might not make it there. None of us are promised tomorrow. So be nice today. Share your gifts. When it comes to this, jealousy shouldn't be even there. When it comes to this arena, jealousy shouldn't be there. There's 2 sacred arenas we use as Indian people. One, we go pray to that tree in the middle, and you suffer for that. Here we get to come and enjoy this and bring that good spirit here. Remember that when you come, and remember that when you leave. It's not always about winning and losing. It's about what you endured that weekend, what you learned and what you taught yourself. Well, our upbringing, my father always told us, be respectful. And this way of life here, this grandpa, this is a long ways to come. We know we've made this trip from the East Coast. But my family, my mom, my sister, my nephew, my niece, my sister-in-law, all of us standing up here, our family wants to give $4,000 to all these drums that don't place here. My brother always loved the powwows, but none of you knew this about him. He hated singing contests. But we went there to see all of you, our brothers, our nephews, some of our adopted dads, our adopted uncles. We love to see you. We love to hear you. But my brother always made it one thing. Every summer we will hit traditional powwows because that's where you find your heart again. It's good to do this. But remember, go back to why you do it. My family at the memorial, you take this for granted. Let me tell you something, people. This is who we are. This is what we do. Don't take it for granted. Don't think there's something you get to do next weekend. Remember this. Remember why you put everything on, who you dance for. Remember those reasons why you sit at these grandpas, why you make the music. Enjoy yourself while you're doing it. Mistakes happen. Laugh it off. When you get angry, that brings that wrong spirit here. Enjoy what you're doing here. Not everything happens perfect in our life. We all know that. But my father, my mother, they taught us how to do this in the right manner. And that's all we ever did with anybody that ever sat with us. We have many brothers, nephews, uncles sitting at these drums that sat with us. And my brother always said, be happy with what you do. We have brothers that start at Midnight Express. We have brothers, my nephews over here, Young Bird. They started out as the Mighty Corn Dogs. My nephew Craig sat there and they sang on a cooler. These things are why we do this. Gentlemen, when you're sitting at these grandpas, remember the little ones are watching you. Carry yourself in a proper manner. No matter whether you're singing or not, they're watching you. You're somebody's idol here. Remember that. Because someday they're going to come and tell you that. I had so many people tell me my brother meant the world to them. And that's good because that's all he ever wanted to do was make you feel good. He never wanted to hurt anybody. He never wanted to talk down about anybody. And most of all, he loved the kids. He didn't matter whose kid it was, my brother loved and adored them. And that's what we want, is to give this to you. Give that to the drums that don't place. Let them get home. And from all of my family here, we say, Wopala.
Thank you, Ty. You know, before we go to this flag song, and I was visiting with Craig, and Craig said, I'll leave it up to you, Ruben, however you want, you know, and you speak for our family, you know us, and everybody here probably has their certain connection or how they knew JR. I'm just going to take a quick second to let you know how I know JR. So some years ago, he met Faith, and then I don't know how it went, but it probably went like something like that, you know, and Faith probably turned around and kind of fluttered her eyelashes at him. I don't know. Something happened. Anyway, they got together, and Faith's late father, too, the late LaForce, that was my mentor. That was my teacher. So when Kenny came to Lame Deer to live with Faith, and they lived right across the apartment from me. Remember that, Faith? Right there. And I would hear Kenny singing all the time on his hand drum and his flute, and then when we'd come over to Lee's house, he'd man, he was a big guy, man. Kenny was a big dude, man, and you know, and I got to know him. He was loud, and then he was always traveling, dance theater. But Faith's dad, Lee, really took him as a son. he took him to a lot of Cheyenne ceremonies and shared with him a lot of our pipe ceremonies and a lot of our ceremonial singing around Bernie and around Lame Deer. And I had a lot of respect for Kenny. And then, when the learning of his passing, and it was started here, Derek, and I want to let you guys know that Faith or Craig or Tyson or nobody asked me to do what I did throughout the year. I just did it on my own because I wanted to honor Kenny in some way. I wanted to honor him somehow. And for those of you that traveled with me through different powwows all last summer, I always dedicated one session, maybe on Saturday night or Sunday, and I took tobacco to a drum group. And I asked them to render that Mashantucket Pequot flag song that JR made for them. And I was sharing with Craig that sometimes I'd be at a small powwow and I wasn't even sure if these singers even knew that song. But yet they would kick it out and they would sing it proud. And when we were at Lame Deer this past year, I asked Showtime, I asked Novi, Runs Above, and the boys to sing. And a lot of people in Lame Deer knew Kenny. And for those of you that were there at Lame Deer this year or heard about it, man, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful sight to see all those people come around the drum. And when Showtime sang that song, like Tyson was saying, these songs have power. They have healing, and they have memorial to bring back emotions. So tonight, Craig, I called upon the boys over there, descendants, Nelson, and some of the gentlemen over there too, that also knew JR. They knew your dad. They probably learned a lot from your dad. So with that said, we're going to ask our Eagle Staff Carrier. Our Eagle Staff Carrier. Randy, George, who's our Eagle Staff Carrier? I believe we're gonna take it out right now. Okay. I want. You want to have him sing? Mitch, you want to sing? Okay. We've also called upon Rooster Topsky, ladies and gentlemen. Rooster comes from strong ties and lineage of this drum, this knowledge of the drum from his late father too as well. And for those of you that were at Sioux Empire a couple years ago in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, we had an honoring there for the late Ernie. Remember that? And Mr. Griver was singing there, and I remember Kenny was still singing over in that far corner. And we did something similar too with this drum. And Rooster said that this protocol and this drum society, he said that we honor it. And this drum that's fixed, that was out in the center, the family, on behalf of the Powwow Committee as well, we're going to ask Rooster to get that drum and present it to the family to help in their healing, to help in their coming back into the circle. Like Tyson said, they were raised here, but he followed protocol to sit out for a year. Now it's time to come back and to honor the legacy. Rooster's been grabbing drum and stands like that ever since he was 2 years old. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to please stand and rise. We're going to call upon the descendants for 4 starts, Nelson. 4 starts of this song, this flag song, to pay tribute to one of the most influential, powerful composer, singer, the late Kenny Merrick Jr. Thank you. The descendants, stand by there. Nelson, stand by. Matzgedat. You know, ladies and gentlemen, as I stand here and before we take the staff and the drum and the family we're going to ask them to go one time around in the arena to honor them as the family alone, along with our head woman dancer. I asked her to accompany the family. But you know, Craig, Tyson, all last summer, as I mentioned, I traveled a lot of places. And I was like in Creston, BC at this little traditional powwow. And the Yahe Nakota happened to show up on Saturday, Rod Hunter and the boys. And no hesitation, you know, man, you got it, bro. Yep, we'll sing it, man. They kicked it out. Man, I was in Salamanca, New York, you know what I mean? And they kicked it out down there. I was in Cherokee, North Carolina, and those Lumbee boys, you know, they kicked it out loud and proud too. And it didn't matter where I was at. Every drum group was happy, you know. They were happy to sing that song for your bro, Ty. The Descendants, Nelson. Just the family. Thank you, the descendants. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, singers. Ladies and gentlemen, as our dancers are coming on through and exiting and shaking hands, I see a lot of emotions here. I see some smiles. I see some laughing. I see some serious. And as I stand here with Melanie, I told Melanie, I said, I hope I get a chance to talk again and relay to the good people that this honoring, this grand exit, this dedication of All Day Friday to the late Kenny Merrick Jr., it come from a sincere spot in the Matthews family, a sincere spot in their heart from the Matthews family. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to go ahead and say this, that every year around last week and this time, the Facebook memes come out. The gathering of nations drama and the naysayers and the haters and whatever else you want to say in a good way, they talk about this powwow. Well, I'm going to share a short story with you. And a lot of you probably don't know that Derek and Kenny, they would call and talk to each other and have conversations for years. They would talk about drums and singing contests and different things to make things better and improvements and different ideas. And so when Derek wanted to do this for his friend, and at the same time, Melanie shared a story with me a while ago when she was in Poplar, Montana as a young fancy dancer, dancing up there. Can I say that? Some of you may or may not know, some years ago, her older brother was murdered. And they were in Poplar, Montana, probably at the oil celebration up there in Poplar. And Derek and Lita flew home to take care of things. And Melanie was left there at a young age. And she was alone. She didn't know a lot of people. But there was one person that took her under his wing and made sure that she was safe and that she was okay. And for those of you that knew Kenny, if he took you under his wing, that was a big wing. He made sure you were protected. He made sure you were safe. He made sure you were fed. He made sure you felt safe and happy and worry-free. So when JR took Melanie under his wing and told her everything's going to be all right, talked with her, prayed with her, and made sure that she was safe for the weekend and that she got home. It's those little things that a lot of people don't know about. It's those little stories that nobody, needs to put on Facebook, Twitter, Snap, whatever. But a part of a job as an MC, we speak for the people. And I wanted to share that story tonight because the Matthews family will always be thankful and grateful and appreciative of the Merrick family and for late Kenny Merrick Jr. And Londell Seaboy told me his Indian name a while ago. Red Bear. Red Bear. And we all know what the bear means in our Indian ways. It's a protector. In the Cheyenne language, we say Nakko eh. Nakko eh. That's our mother. That's how we say mother in Cheyenne. It's the mother bear. The way the bear looks after their cubs. The way the bear will die for their cubs. Protection. And that's the way Kenny was. He protected a lot of people. And I said a while ago, he's a big dude. He's a big guy. But I'm thankful that I got a chance to speak some more cricket because I wanted to share that on behalf of Derek and Lita and Melanie. And Big Ty was saying it a while ago, probably the best way that that could be said. He said, you take care of these ways, you take care of that drum. And Kenny was a lead singer. Kenny was old school. He would lead all 4 leads. He would lead all 4 leads all weekend. A lot of those singers are not around anymore. I can name the late Kenny, Harvey Drever, myself. Hey. But you know what I mean. Those lead singers that took care of the whole song, took care of the whole singing. And Londell also shared another story with me too, that JR was leading at the age of 5 for Badlands up there in Poplar. At the age of 5, he was taking leads with grown men already. Also, I know the family had a big honoring up in Newtown, North Dakota a few weeks back. It was the same time as the big basketball tournament in Denver, All West, and it was the same time as a lot of college powwows. But yet they had a big turnout up there. A lot of people came, a lot of drum groups came, not only to sing for the prize money, but to honor the family. And I talked with Craig and Tyson, and they said it was a successful, a very touching event, weekend. These are, while you're coming through shaking hands, some of you may know the family, but we're very honored to have Philip and River Thomas also make their way out here. They were also kind of like JR's sons too, and they are Mike Thomas's boys. And you all know that Mike and JR were brothers that way. They took each other as brothers. And then we have some of the family here.